You don't mess with another man's woman, and you damn sure don't step between Freddie Freeman and his love for the Atlanta Braves. For a few moments, I want to be honest with you about the state of UCLA football, and we are all just a fraction of the man that Jack Youngblood is. Hi, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. It is June 29th. I am stuck overnight at Denver International Airport, but there was some interesting news. The Stanley Cup actually showed up today with the champion Colorado Avalanche, who promptly dropped the cup again on the tarmac. It rolled free, and Frontier Airlines Flight 778 promptly flattened it like a pancake. Sorry, Toronto. That's what happens. Now, we added a new subscriber yesterday. That makes me actually extremely happy. We are approaching 200. If you like the content we've been putting out for the last 4 months, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. We put out new videos between 9 and 10 a.m. every day to let you know it's there. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comment. I ain't perfect. I get it. So before we get to the news and notes, let's take a quick look at the scoreboard. Clayton Kershaw pitched a couple of miles away from here down at Coors Field. Quote, "I sucked today." Asked if it was because of Colorado. Quote, "I don't think I would have pitched well anywhere today. Am I dropping you a hint?" Yes, I am. Rockies 7, Dodgers 4. Dodgers still have a game and a half lead, though, on the NL West. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers will play at Colorado again. The game will be at 5:40. Julio Urias, he's 5-6. He will face German Marquez, who is 4-5. Meanwhile, over in MLS, the Galaxy finally returned to action. It is going to be Galaxy Game Day. They will play Minnesota United at 7:30. LAFC will play host to FC Dallas at 7:30. Here's a note for LAFC. They had their little chicken dinner press conference yesterday to announce what we all knew. Carlos Vela has, in fact, re-upped with the black and gold. LAFC, by the way, still does have one more DP spot on its roster to fill. Starting off with the Dodgers again, Freddie Freeman has decided allegedly to dump his agent after the Braves series. He said he heard more about what happened, some alleged chicanery during his free agency because, quote, he talked to the other side, unquote. So apparently his agents issued an ultimatum to the Braves. Freeman assumed that he was going to be staying all along. Anyway, post-ultimatum, the Braves didn't like the ultimatum. They traded for Matt Olson. And of course, then the agents were like, okay, we're going to get Freeman the most money we can. He comes to LA. Freeman didn't want to leave. And he assumes that his agents basically kind of forced the issue. Now, to be clear, Freeman isn't floating rose petals in a stream, listening to the songs of Peter Cetera, asking to go back to Atlanta, trying to force a trade. He claims he's happy in LA. So, yeah, we'll go with it. We'll go with it. You know those OSHA signs that they have at workplace environments, you know, like construction zones, how many days it's been since the last injury? I really believe the Dodgers ought to put one of those up in their dugouts. We had 1 day without injury news. But what I can tell you, Zach McKinstry goes to the injured list. So the Dodgers have called up Jake Lamb, a former All-Star with the Arizona Diamondbacks. They had signed him. He wound up going to rehab himself in the minor leagues. So he's now back up at the big club. Manager Dave Roberts thinks it's, quote, pretty reasonable for Andrew Heaney, the starting pitcher, to miss 2 more starts. Mitch White will continue to take his place in the rotation in the interim. And Mookie Betts has been cleared to swing a bat. He hasn't done squat for more than a week because he has cracked ribs. So there's starting to become signs that hopefully he will be back in the lineup. We are getting somewhat mixed notes on UCLA. I think the best way to put it is there's this guy named Josh Pate of CBS who says that the Bruins are at a crossroads with Coach Chip Kelly, that they really have to compete this year in the Pac-12 Because if they don't make a name for themselves this time around, they're just going to get boat raced by USC next year. And you can see those kind of cracks for the Bruins. See, this is their shot, in my opinion, to get the Pac-12 South. And of course, you have to be in the top 2 in order to qualify for the Pac-12 championship game. The best way to put it aside from that is there's another press outlet that is saying that the team's outlook for the year is solely based on the offensive line. And you know, I absolutely buy that. Because one thing that I do know is that they are returning at least 3 offensive linemen, all on the interior. You have center Sam Mazzaro, guards John Gaines, and Antonio Mafi. That is going to be their foundation, okay? Because that is going to provide them a nice little wall to get Zach Charbonnet to run. The one thing I didn't know about UCLA is that they replaced their offensive line coach. Justin Fry, the former guy, went to Ohio State. Tim Dravino is in. He's the one trying to build off of that foundations. We still, by the way, don't know who's going to be playing at either tackle. So I think this line is going to be very good at running the ball, probably okay at pass protection. Ultimately, I think with Chip Kelly, though, there's a conundrum that Chip Kelly has to solve. I'm talking about running the football, but running the football eats up the clock. Chip Kelly's offense is at its best when it's go, 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 just like it was in Oregon. Remember, that's when Oregon really began to make a name for themselves. Sprinting to the line, a lot of no huddle, a lot of quick reads, et cetera, et cetera. Now, you could say they have a quarterback that's capable of doing that. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he's been with the program for 5 years. He should know that playbook back to front. And if they do that, theoretically, they could be a handful, even if it's a lot of running the football. Having said that, the problem with running a fast-paced offense is it not only damages the opponent's defense, it damages your own. Because they don't get a chance to rest. You're either scoring in like 2 minutes or you're going 3 and out in 30 seconds. So there is a question that UCLA has to answer. And they do need to answer it. Because, again, this is their crucial year to keep pace or surpass all the big news from USC. Let's go through the other notes. Ivica Zubac has signed a 3-year, $33 million extension with the Clippers, and this is actually a decent signing. I mean, you might remember Zubac was drafted by the Lakers. He came along very slowly, but with the Clippers, he's averaging 10.3 points a game, 8.5 rebounds. The Clippers don't rebound. He does. He was an essential to come back for LA. ESPN, of course, now that the Stanley Cup has been decided, they have released their way too early rankings for the NHL. They have listed the LA Kings at 14th, which is kind of fair. They say the Kings lack the bite. They don't lack enough ferocity to compete for winning cups, and honestly, I agree with that. The CBSSports.com has listed individual defensive linemen in terms of rankings, both on the interior and the exterior. So for the Rams and the Chargers, you might pretty much figure it out. Aaron Donald, among the interior, by far, number 1 in the league. We don't even have to discuss why, we know. But among exterior linemen, Joey Bosa is ranked 7th for the Chargers. And Khalil Mack only gets an honorable mention. So do you think that's fair? You take a look at the list, you tell me. What's also interesting among the rankings for exterior defensive linemen, 2 former Rams made the list. Von Miller of the Bills is number 5, and Robert Quinn of Chicago, number 9. Side note, did you know Robert Quinn was actually 2nd in the NFL in sacks last year? So he's made a name for himself even after breaking free from Aaron Donald. Speaking of the Rams, in Los Angeles Rams lore, one of the most important players in their history was the great Jack Youngblood, a Hall of Fame defensive lineman. He played a Super Bowl with a broken left tibia. The tibia is the big bone in your lower leg, not the little skinny one in the back. He led the NFL in sacks in 1979 with 18, and for whatever reason, he wound up speaking about it with CBS Sports. And I realized the game itself was 40 years ago. I realized most longtime Rams fans know the study, but these quotes, mercy. I mean, he broke the leg versus Dallas in like the first round of the NFL playoffs. He wound up playing both the championship round, the Super Bowl, and even the Pro Bowl, where nobody wants to play. He wanted to go. So the immediate reaction when the doctor told him in Dallas that the leg was broken, quote, he told the doctor, "Tape it up, Clarence. I can still run. Tape this dadgum thing up." And he said, "Jack, I don't know how to tape." Turns out the Rams doctor at that point didn't know how to tape because he was actually a surgeon. Like they were going to do open heart on the bench, even without that stupid tent that you see in the NFL now. The interesting thing about that game is that with a broken leg, Youngblood sacked Roger Staubach late in the game to clinch the victory for LA. And that was Roger Staubach's last game. He retired. And then, of course, the Rams, they shut out Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship game before losing to the Steelers. He said that the pain was just unbearable walking around, but once the snap of the ball happened, no more pain. Now, you might ask yourself, why am I telling you all this? And I'll tell you why. It's because I want you guys to think of Jack Youngblood the next time your social justice warrior, purple-headed son starts to pout because he doesn't know how to change a flat tire. That and because I just wanted to say dadgum. I mean, how often do you get to do that in your life? Am I right? Now, if you enjoyed today's broadcast, don't forget to like and subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We are trying to build something here for LA sports. And yes, comment because I'm stuck in an airport. Thanks for watching. I'm James. Faithful Angelenos is a Quian Corte El Queso production. Take care.